It's time for another Dice Tower review with Z. Garcia.
Hey everybody, today I'm going to be taking a look at Factory Funner. Factory Funner here is, of course, a sequel to Factory Fun, which I am a very big fan of. I really enjoyed Factory Fun. I thought it was an amazing design. It's perhaps a very niche design, but one that really appealed to me in its puzzly nature. And so, now that Factory Funner is out, does this one replace the first? Is it any good? Let me give you an overview of the game and then I'll tell you what I think of it. Each player is going to start with one of these boards in front of them. They are going to start with one of each color of these supply reservoirs and 3 of these output reservoirs. And then we're just going to make a pile of these connections somewhere on the board. Every player is going to be, we're going to shuffle up these and give every player 8 of these machines and put the scoring board somewhere with the tokens for each player nearby. And you are ready to begin. The objective is to make the most money, which again we track on here. And you are going to be simultaneously picking one of these machines and then trying to build it onto your board, onto your factory floor. So let's say there's 3 people playing. They're each given 8 of these. They're each going to take one off the top without looking at it. I'm going to do this on the board here, but obviously you would do it somewhere else. And then each player is going to simultaneously flip these 3 over, okay? And then every player, and again, this is in real time, can choose to take one of these, okay? So let's say I am going to take this one, all right? And let's just assume the other players take the others. This player takes that one, this player takes that one, whatever. Whoever takes the first one is going to get a 1 coin penalty. Whoever gets the last one or picks last gets a 1 coin bonus. You are also allowed to simply not take one if you so choose. Once I've taken this, then I am going to play it on my board and I am going to figure out what I'm doing with it. First of all, it gives me an amount of money. Okay, so my base amount of income there is 9. And I am going to, for every piece I must add, that's going to cost me 1 coin. So this takes blue in at a pressure of 2. It takes in yellow at a pressure of 2. And it outputs green at a pressure of 1. So I must give it blue, which I'm going to do by building there. I am going to give it yellow, which I'm going to do by building this here. And then, since this, I don't want this just spilling on my factory floor, I'm going to catch it in that reservoir there. The tile gave me 9, minus 1, 2, 3. I am going to, on my board here, track that I just made 6 coins. However, I picked first, so I also am deducted 1 for that. Okay, and that's it. And then once everybody has built whatever they are going to build, we each again pick a tile, and we again all simultaneously flip, and then we figure out what we're going to do, and I might very quickly go, ooh, I like that one, boom, and grab this. Let's say this time I did that second, okay? So I neither get a penalty nor a bonus. Why would I want to take this one? Because I'm hoping to feed, with this previous machine, feed that one there. So let's see if that's going to work out for me. I can remove this freely. That's not going to cost me to tear that up. And then I am going to put this machine there, okay? It gives me 7. And now I can build piping to connect all of this stuff. Again, each piece of pipe is 1, just like everything else that you built. So I'm going to put this here, 1 to 1. And I'm going to build some pipe from blue, which is the reservoir I need here, over to the point on the machine that needs to be fed some blue there, okay? So I'm going to do that, and then I need to catch these 2 things. So I am going to catch this one here, and I am going to catch this one here, and that's it. That would have been 7 minus all these, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I made a single coin this round. However, while that might seem like a bad play, I also made a connection here where one machine feeds another, and so I put one of these clear little tiddlywinks on it to remind me I'm going to get some bonus points at the end of the game for that. Be aware also I could not take this 2 output and loop it back into this 2 input, because I would create an endless loop. One machine feeding another and then feeding the first and then feeding the other, and that's illegal. You cannot do that infinite loop, okay? However, doing this is fine. We're going to continue doing this until we've played all 8 rounds, and then at the end of the game, you are going to get a bonus 3 points for every dot under one of your little tiddlywinks. So first things first, the game is amazing. I love it. It is, again, I'm a really big fan of the first one, and this one is just as good as the first one. I'm not going to say better. It's different. It's more like a sidestep than necessarily a leap forward, but it works just as well. And for me, that's great, because this is exactly, it's my type of game. I don't know what it is. It's the spatial thing with the puzzly aspect to it. A little bit of interaction, but not a whole lot. You can't really mess me over too much. And so, if that's all you wanted to know, whether I enjoyed this game and you wanted the overview, then that's all you need. Now, I think a lot of people do want to hear about what this adds that this one didn't have, or perhaps vice versa. So here are the differences, okay? Obviously, this uses hexagons, this uses squares. That's not as straightforward of a thing to compare, like say, oh, this one's better, this one's worse, or whatever, as it might seem. This one, the new one, Funner, is headier. It's harder to make sure you're not making a mistake. You kind of have to slow down a little bit more. However, it's also more freeing. It feels more freeing. It feels like you can do more and wackier things, maybe. It's also more forgiving that way. So it sort of balances by being tougher to figure out and a little bit of a brain melter, by also giving you some freedom. So there is that. What else is different? The tiles that are given to the players as a penalty or a bonus for picking, for picking quickly or slowly. Great idea. Love it. Because, again, it's not really a speed game. If you're grabbing just to grab quickly, you're probably going to do badly. I like that this one penalizes that even more, a little bit. And if you get whatever's left, it gives you a little bonus. It's a simple addition, but it just makes sense, and it hopefully gives everybody just enough pause to make that phase work even better. I know a lot of people out there that did not like Factory Fun. That was one of the complaints, was that, it's got this weird speed element to it when it's supposed to be this very challenging puzzle game. And that's true, but I think this discourages people from just going, grab that, and not really thinking about it. It's supposed to be a simultaneous thinking, not grabbing moment. So, that's good. Another thing they changed, which this was technically my least favorite part of the original. It's the one thing that I almost wish I didn't even have to explain, and that is that you are allowed to, in the original game, rip up machines and move them. And it always led to trouble, because it was always when someone wanted to do that, and they were running into some issue, and they're like, okay, I'm going to restructure. They could rip up 2 machines, reposition them, move pipes, whatever. They invariably needed someone to watch them like a hawk, or they would mess up the math, because it got tricky. And then if you wanted to start rebuilding, you went, wait, let me take that back. Oh boy, that was problematic. In the new one, you can change pipes, you can obviously rip things up and all of that, but you cannot change the machines. Once you play them, they are locked in place. Again, that's less, that gives you less wiggle room, but it also takes away what I thought was one of the problematic, really the only problematic rule in the original one. So thumbs up for that. I really enjoyed that. Difference in rounds. This is 10 rounds. You play 10 machines in this, and this one you play 8. I think it's because the board fills up faster, and it's really tough to make connections in this. I mean, it is I don't know what it is. It's just the six-sided pieces. You pretty soon. I mean, I had games of this where after the 5th or 6th round, I was like, I can't take one. I'm not taking one. I'm not taking one. I'm not taking. I just wouldn't take one. I still did well, but my board was that filled up, you know. So I understand why it's fewer rounds, and it's technically faster now. So I like that change. Let me see. What else has changed? I think that's it. I think that's all the big ones anyway. I, again, really enjoy this game. I think it's a great idea. It's not necessarily a revolutionary idea, especially after the first one. Again, more of a sidestep, but I'm very happy to own it, very happy I played it. I think the one that hits the table for me is just going to, I don't know, depend on my mood maybe, how I'm feeling. I want something faster, I might go for this. If I don't know. It's, again, I feel like a lot of people out there are going to want to know which one do I get. And I don't know if this is available right now or not. Factory, I have no idea. And the answer is really just which one looks better. You want to mess around with the square feel of it, or you want to go with the hexagons, because they are close enough where unless you are a huge fan of the system, you won't need both. Now, I need both, because I love both of these games. But if you are just grabbing one or the other, really, you can't go wrong with either one. And certainly you're not going to get one and go, oh, shoot, I wish I'd gotten the other one instead. With what you've had here and what you've seen of the way it operates, I think you have enough information to figure out which one of the two would appeal more to you. So there you go. Having said that, thumbs up from me, way, way up, because I'm a huge fan of factory fun, whoop, but also factory funner.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at DicetowerNetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.